Greetings everyone, Sizzle466 here, and in today's video we're going to be looking at deck building with Mind Blast Priest. Mind Blast Priest has been around in Standard for quite a few months now, currently sitting around tier 2, and there are two variants of the deck. The first is your standard Mind Blast Priest, which has your Prophet Valen, your double Mind Blasts, and some Dragon synergy so that you can get extra spells off your Fire Tree Witch Doctor, clears with your Duskbreaker, and just get some ridiculous value to take out your opponent. There's also the Resurrect OTK Priest, which doesn't necessarily run the Dragon package, but it has a similar style where it tries to bring out minions early through Zarek's Cloning Gallery, bring them back through Eternal Servitude, and eventually finish out your opponent with Mind Blast. In Wild, Hydro was one of the first players to experiment with the deck, and his deck is a very anti-control style deck, running cards such as Radiant Elemental, Vivid Nightmare, to have ridiculous OTKs on your opponent. GetMeowth then took this list and put his own spin on it, and his is more of an anti-aggro list. So you're seeing things like Tar Creeper, Twilight Guardian, but you've still got the Prophet Valen Mind Blast soft OTK combo. I've also been playing with this deck quite a lot myself, and I've been putting in Gluttonous Ooze to help me against the Kingsbane Rogue, and recently I've also been playing Archbishop Benedictus. I've been queuing into a ton of Togwaggle Druid and Odd Warriors on the ladder, and I find that Archbishop Benedictus is a really fun and also efficient counter to these decks. So this might be a list that you may want to try out. Now when it comes to Mind Blast Priest's overall statistics, all of the meta tier lists that are currently available have the deck sitting at tier 2. Tempo Storm and Rankstar have the deck at high tier 2. Vicious Syndicate didn't have enough data to really be able to place the deck properly, but based on its low sample estimate, it puts it somewhere in tier 2. Now, when it comes to your matchups, your good matchups with Mind Blast Priest is any Finn Paladin, Big Priest, Combo Priest, Even Shaman, and Even Warlock. And keep in mind here that 4 of those 5 decks are very popular in the meta, which means that you're going to have an advantage over your opponents in general. However, there are quite a lot of bad matchups for this deck. Togwaggle Druid, Mech Hunter, Tempo Mage, Odd Paladin, which is a really powerful deck, in addition to Kingsbane Rogue, which is a powerhouse of a deck, Cube Warlocks, Mechathune Warlocks, and Odd Warriors. So you do have to be careful about what your local meta is or what the pocket you're currently in to determine if it is going to be possible to climb with this deck. We've also got a couple of neutral matchups to share, Jade Druid and Reno Warlock. They're decks that don't see too much play, but just be aware they're about a 50-50 matchup. Now when it comes to building your own Mind Blast Priest, in Wild, these are the core cards that Team One Trick recommend you have in your deck. Definitely you need the Northshire Cleric for the draw. It also trades really nicely against aggro. Obviously Mind Blast, pretty critical for Mind Blast Priest. Netherspite Historian is a wild card that helps you get a dragon. Because of the weight towards class cards, you can often get Dragonid Operative or Duskbreaker whenever needed. Shadow Vision's really powerful card, and one thing you'll notice with a lot of the Mind Blast Priest lists is they don't run many spells because you want your Shadow Visions to be able to get exactly what you want. So typically you only want to run about 4 or 5 different spells in your Mind Blast Priest. Spirit Lash is excellent against aggro, as is Duskbreaker and Twilight Guardian. Azure Drake is a wild exclusive card because of Hall of Fame. Again, really powerful card. Draws you cards, Dragon synergy, has synergy with Spirit Lash, even sometimes Mind Mind Blast can sneak you in some lethals. Draconid Operative is just a ridiculously broken card. Being able to discover cards from your opponent's deck. Emperor Thorson, another wild exclusive. Again, this makes the deck a lot faster. You only have to get a discount on one piece of your combo, and that's enough to get the 20 damage OTK with the Valen, Prophet Valen, and the 2 Mind Blasts. Psychic Scream is one of Priest's most ridiculous board clears. Shadow Reaper Anduin, not only does it help you clear board, but the hero power can also help you get some lethals in. When you're Shadow Reaper Anduin and you've got 2 Mind Blasts, that's 16 damage. Also keep in mind that with Prophet Valen, your hero power becomes 4 damage, so just super powerful card. And finally, Alexstrasza, just to basically give you an option to have a 2-turn lethal if necessary, or if you're really desperate, heal yourself up to 15. So as a recommended cards, Power Word Shield, it is recommended. Some players, such as Concerned Mum, have been removing Power Word Shield for Greater Healing Potion to help against aggro. That might be a consideration. Fire Tree Witch Doctor is also a recommended card. Hydra was not originally running this card, and some players actually have been replacing Fire Tree Witch Doctor with Wild Pyromancer just to help them against the aggression in the meta. Prophet Valen, shockingly, is also only a recommended card. In the standard lists, Prophet Valen is currently being cut for Archbishop Benedictus just because of all the druids and warriors out there. So do keep in mind that Prophet Valen is not core to the deck. Mind Blast, of course, is called Mind Blast Priest, very core to the deck. Now, this is quite a new deck in the wild meta, and you've got a lot of tech options. So if you want to be able to get some sneaky OTKs in, you might want to consider Radiant Elemental as well as Vivid Nightmare. This can sometimes do up to 80 damage in a turn, which can be absolutely insane. Wild Pyromancer is great against aggressive decks. Gluttonous Ooze is very good against Kingsbane Rogues and Secret Mages. Shadow Word Death is a good tech if you're having a lot of issues against Shamans, though this deck is already quite favored against even Shamans, so that may not be necessary. Tar Creeper is a tech which is very good against Paladin, as well as Rogue to some extent. Twilight Acolyte is an anti-control tool, but it's also an anti-shaman tool. It can be very good to play when they play their 4-mana 7/7, but again, it's not that necessary. Greater Healing Potion, as mentioned before, is a substitution for Power Word Shield if you'd like to get some extra heal. And Archbishop Benedictus is an alternative to Prophet Valen if you're having issues against some of the slower armor-gaining decks in the meta. As for your mulligan guide, Mind Blast Priest is a very easy deck to mulligan for. In general, you want to keep Northshire Cleric, Netherspite Historian, and Shadow Visions. Against aggro decks, you want to keep your cheap clears such as Spirit Lash and Duskbreaker. And against control decks, you want to keep Draconid Operative because that is one of the cards that just shuts down control decks on the spot if you can steal some of the powerhouse cards from their deck. So Team One Trick would like to thank you so much for taking the time to watch our video today. If you'd like to support our team, you can click that subscribe button below, and you can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/teamonetrick. Until next time, we hope to see you again.